Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Women in Tech Like a Boss. And I'm tremendously excited about today's guest. Dr. Suzanne Shugg is not only a specialist in lipid disorders, particularly complex metabolic disorders, and doing everything that she can related to preventative cardiology practices to try to help people in understanding in anticipation of why there might be a heart attack or other event. She's an active adjunct research professor at Rutgers University, and she's the co-founder of TelePlus Healthcare, which she started with her co-founder back in 2016, very much ahead of the curve of this whole movement towards remote care, and especially important in today's era of coronavirus. Dr. Shugg, thank you so much for joining our show.
First of all, I just want to thank you for having me on the show. Thanks to listeners. I know everybody's crazy busy, so.
Well, we know that you are too. You've got a lot going on. So we want to get through this as quickly as we can. Tell us a little bit about TelePlus Healthcare and what stage your company's at.
So we're in a Series A or A plus round. Just the reason why we went to A plus is that we just added coronavirus management to our platform, which we think is a very important issue at this time. So we've raised 1.7 thus far, and we're seeking another 1.5 to make sure that we have enough resources to be able to manage this. Actually have 3 platforms, and we do chronic care management, physician education, sleep disorder education. So we've partnered with the University of Pennsylvania. We've been up and live for about 18 months. Our 30-day readmission rate is 1.4% compared to the national average of 22.3%.
So, Dr. Shugg, you've talked a lot about coronavirus, and obviously that's on the tip of everybody's tongue, just given the huge ripple effect and terrible consequences of this virus. Can you tell us what happens to the people that have been diagnosed and how an app like yours could help them?
So I think what's important is that, they've been treated or diagnosed and then they're alone. So what we're looking to do is actually monitor these patients on a daily basis based on their temperature and pulse ox and their symptoms to see whether or not they should stay at home or if they're getting worse and they need to go to the ER. So it's a continuous management over 2 or 3 weeks, which I think is really important.
That's phenomenal. Now, are you seeking additional partnerships?
So we're seeking both additional funding and partnerships. This coronavirus is a big thing and it's going to be widespread. I'm not saying panic or anything like that. I don't want to convey that message because very few people actually die. It actually is a bigger risk for those who are elderly and also for those who have pre-existing conditions. So we're going to need to partner with other people on how to manage it. So we've taken a look at the data from China and the Wuhan data, and myself and some other very, very smart people have looked at all their symptoms, their temperatures, pulse oxidation, all of that, where we've been able to create algorithms to do management. So in other words, we can look to see if individuals have the flu versus coronavirus versus a cold. So you can do that with pretty good sensitivity without actually doing a test remotely. So the idea is the people that aren't that sick to manage them at home.
Now, given that your focus is preventative care and healthcare management, is your company's mission really more along that lines? Because you are covering, it sounds like, sleep disorders as well as to coronavirus, with the emphasis on your research in cardiovascular disease.
We know that everything's connected, right? So what our mission is to empower patients and providers to manage their health better. Our country spends $25 billion in chronic care management. We could do a much better job. Part of it is just empowering people to take better care of themselves, educating them, and then giving them the resources. We're trying to be the good guys here.
Well, with your 1.4% readmission rate versus the national standard of, what did you say, 20-some percent, looks like you're well on your way. Share with us the vision that you have for TelePlus Healthcare.
Our vision is better and equal management of health, no matter what your social economic background is. Healthcare debt is the number one reason why people lose their home.
So you said the company has been in practice now for about 18 months. Can you tell us in that period of time how TelePlus has started to change lives?
So I think that the best way to say this is like the old saying says, is give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. Teach a man how to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. We basically want to educate both providers and patients on how to better care for the diseases. Our platform works pretty simply. We give patients tablets, blood pressure cuffs, and scales. We tell them to answer 5 questions and take a blood pressure and their weight between the hours of 6 and 11. Based on that data, we can see if they're in what we call the red, yellow, or green category, meaning are they in danger, or are they headed towards danger or are they good? Because you don't want to bother the good ones. And basically this allows the current staff in that office or hospital to be able to better manage them and get help to the people that need it. This also gives the patients a contact. So it just makes it much more easy and much more efficient. And the patients like it because they know that they're going to be contacted if they're in trouble.
And you're making it simple for them with a red, yellow, green
We
approach.
try.
So, right. So that's terrific. Now, Dr. Shugg, what do you think makes you a good leader?
I think it's hard. I have a greater vision, I think, and feel like I truly have a purpose to help others. I try not to micromanage people and really encourage others to live to their full potential. If you surround yourself with better people, I think it makes you a better person, so a better leader.
Absolutely. To that end, what's the hardest thing you've ever had to do?
Ask for help. Um,
A lot of people can relate to that one.
yeah. So I'm a healthcare worker, so I'm used to helping people. I find it really, really difficult to ask for help, and the same thing with funding. And I don't know the right people.
Well, let's dig into understanding a little bit more about why you do what you do and then work towards how our audience can help you.
Why I do what I do, short term, is really to help out this coronavirus thing. I think it's scary because we don't fully understand it. We obviously can't help the critically ill, but we can help coordinate the care. I think that's the biggest thing.
When it comes to teleplus healthcare, what would you describe as your competitive edge?
So I think our competitive edge and the way we do things better is we actually partner with existing physicians, hospitals, and assisted living. So our goal is to be able to enable providers to take care of their own patients. Right now, because of the current market and NDAs, outside physicians are taking care of their patients. It results in really not good care. If providers partner with us, if they just put 135 patients on our list, because we're reimbursed by all insurances on a monthly basis, the practice itself takes home an extra $225,000 for 135 patients.
So, in simple terms, Dr. Shugg, because not everybody is practicing within medicine, can you explain to us how teleplus healthcare is different from all the other medical and clinical apps out there?
Our platform is a full service platform. So we actually include per disease state, provider education, patient education, video, remote consenting. So it's a full service platform. We also, which really distinguishes us from everybody else, is we actually have a partnership, an 8-year exclusive partnership with the University of Pennsylvania. So we've started the first online sleep certification for physicians overseas and for NPs and PAs in the US. Specifically in Asia, there's 42% of the population has sleep apnea and less than 1% are actually treated. So the reason why is they wait a long time to see doctors, there's no remote management, and there's no guidance on how to do it. We've actually included all that into our management system and partnered with some of the largest product distributors in the country. So,
and thanks for that clarification to let us know that Teleplus Healthcare is more than an app. It's a full service platform. You're fully integrated with healthcare providers and facilities, and you're taking very much a data informed approach, using research and sound methodology to try to be able to inform the content you're providing. Thank you for that clarification.
Absolutely. I mean, we're trying to predict other diseases, and we use AI and machine learning to actually be able to predict when a patient is getting sick. So they actually can pick up patterns. And I'm not just saying AI like everybody else throws AI. You have to have patients on for at least 3 months, and it can start picking up patterns and predict them before a normal person would.
That's what I'm all about, using data to make informed decisions and prioritization. Now, on the bad days, what gives you the strength to keep going?
I think my patients are really great. And then knowing that there's just so much more work to be done. I mean, you hear these stories all the time. I think that's what really drives me.
Is there anything holding you back from being wildly successful, like beyond the success that you've already achieved?
Funding, basically. I hate to say that, but yeah, we've had 2 instances where on like the final day before we get funding that it's just been delayed. And I think that's pretty common in entrepreneurs, and it's tough. You have to reinvent yourself many times over.
Yeah, that's horrible and soul crushing at the same time.
You're exactly right.
If you could change anything from your past, what would be different?
I think as a younger person, having more confidence, and then also letting fears hold me back.
Susan Joffrey has made a whole career out of that. Like, feel your fear and do it anyway. And it's
Yeah,
some wonderful coaching.
when I was younger, I was even afraid to travel to different countries. Now I've been all over, but yeah.
That's a lot to learn. It takes time, it takes years, and it takes experience. It's, pushing through it to get to the other side. If I could ask you to recommend a book to our audience, is there any one that you'd suggest?
The Outliers. I don't know if you've ever read it, but it's awesome. It just explains things. And I refer to all the time 10,000 hours to become an expert in one subject. I don't know if you've read it.
No, but I have heard of it. My reading list is getting longer and longer with every guest I have on the show.
You got to stop asking that question.
I do indeed. But I love learning and I love reading. So I'm always excited about it. And I know our audience does too. You've talked a lot about coronavirus and the approaches that you're taking here, which obviously timely subject. What else do you want people to know? This is your platform.
I'm just a really down-to-earth person that really just wants to walk into town and talk to people. And I really love dogs. So,
Oh, see, I had to guess that you were a dog person. All of the dog people on the show and fur babies in general. Now, is there a way that our audience can reach out to you to start, facilitating and opening up those conversations?
sure, probably email is the best way just because I still see patients. So it's difficult to call. But my best email is sshugg@teleplus, TELEPLUSHC.com.
Excellent. Please share your best tip for the next generation of women and women in tech.
Keep at it. It's hard work, and be as flexible as you can because you got to reinvent yourself. If it's worth it in the end, but it's tough.
Switching gears, Dr. Shugg, is there a way that our audience can help you?
So I think the best way is just to get the word out. If you have friends in hospitals, assisted livings, providers, tell them about us. Better yet, if you have a rich friend that has too much money, tell them about us as well.
We'll get some funding over to you then. And after a very serious conversation about funding, the challenges, particularly as a woman trying to get funding, and coronavirus, obviously global pandemic with all kinds of horrible implications for people worldwide, we're going to switch gears and ask a very silly question, but just to add some levity to this. Now, Dr. Shugg, if your shoe style was your personality, are you a boots, stilettos, sneakers, flats, or flip-flops kind of gal?
I'm definitely a flip-flops kind of gal. What you see is what you get with me. I really do feel like I don't have time for, playing games or doing other things. People are always like, you're so straightforward, even with my patients. I'm like, hey, this is how it is. I'll explain everything. Here's your choices. I think that's the easiest way to be. I get accused of being too nice and showing my cards too early, but I think that's just who I am.
I think that that's great. I mean, in this world of fake news and all kinds of stuff, it's nice to see candor being applauded.
I try.
Well, with that, we are going to leave you to get to it because you've got a lot of important things to do. So Dr. Shugg, thank you again so much for being on our show today.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate the platform to be able to speak about this because I do feel it's really important and you're doing great work yourself.
Thank you so much.
Take care.
And how about that fantastic intro by Touch Circle?